Well, it's a new day in the life and it's a new year. So why not have some fun? Last night I was talking about the end of the chase, and I guess it's time to come clean about the end of the chase thing. I'm not going to show you my non-disclosure agreement. I'm not going to show you any of the paperwork, but I had managed a blog for a number of years, and uh, it was basically directed at Forrest and treasure hunt, and it was called it was endofthechase.wordpress.com. And a certain person had hired me to do this, had put me basically up to it, if you will, kind of like Buffalo Bill was put up to do things, and Stuef.com's been doing things on YouTube and all these things. And I'm now at an age where I feel like I should come clean about a few things. So, but I didn't know that what they were going to do was basically back end me and at the end. I didn't know that this back end was coming. So I'm going to share this who is search with you. And I think you'll be able to figure it out. Uh, my website was basically called uh, endofthechase.wordpress.com. And I didn't know that they were going to go in and back end me and create a website and that they were going to register it. And then they were going to put certain content about Wyoming on it. And so the site I'm talking about is endofthechase.com. And you can see the registrar here is, basically hidden. But they went in and they registered the site. And as you can see, the registry contact is in Toronto. And you can see the register's information is 2cows.com. Wow, I wonder who the two cows could be. I wonder who the two cows could be. And, that's just interesting that this domain registration. So I didn't know that they were going to go back end me and steal the content identity that way. But let's just look at what that website is. So again, I told you my website was at WordPress, and so this is the what they put up. Uh, this is what they put up in place on endofthechase.com. So there could be some confusion about my website, which was endofthechase.wordpress.com, and this site, endofthechase.com. And again, I was giving false ideas and information about Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt for a period of 6 years, and it was a gig, right? Okay, but I didn't know they were going to back end me by putting KPro Solve up as the solve for the end of the chase. And I don't know if this was their veiled attempt to say, hey, we took over your solve, or hey, you stole my solve, or I don't know. But I think it's pretty obviously what's going on here. I got basically double dealed. Uh, I thought I was the end of the chase. Apparently, you know, I guess I should have. I guess I should have went and registered this domain so that this couldn't happen. But yeah, like I said, the who is doesn't lie. The who is doesn't lie. It gives you the information. Now, I'm just hoping other people come forward with their involvement over these many years of the chase and what they did and how they were a part of this thing, and maybe we can bring some finality and closure to this Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. That's my first little gambit. I'm going to call it a gambit today. Maybe you can contact the cow people and ask them, what the agreement was and how was it managed, and maybe you just start asking them some more questions. And when you do that, you'll figure out that some of these other people are the face of them now. You know, Chad Bird, for instance, I think is actually just a face of their chase. I think that's just one of their scams they're running right now, and he's the face of it. You know, they ran a scam on me. They got me pretty good. They ran that scam on me, and I'm sure they ran it on a few other people. But I didn't know I was going to get back ended like that at the end, and that's what's nuts about it. Um, I didn't even look into that website until recently. And it came up. It just came up yesterday on a Copilot search. But anyway, hey Captain, what's ahoy, matey? Ahoy, matey! I survived the night. Hey, the bunghole. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Chad used the YouTubers to spread his seed. You know, I don't know how you get 45. I don't know how you get 45,000 subscribers, of which let's just say 30,000 of them came overnight. But you know, the problem with birdseed is it has to be so small. Anyway, I don't want to. I don't want to personally insult anybody. I think the guy. Honestly, I think the guy's being used and he doesn't know it. I think he is tethered. He's being tethered. Uh, he's a marionette at the end of the puppeteer strings. And as soon as more and more people come forward and expose what happened, I think things will move forward. I'm climbing the ladder. I'm climbing the ladder. I'm climbing the ladder, trying to get further and further away from the treasure. That's all I'm doing. Climbing that ladder. Okay, well, you can take this video for what it is. But then, I mean, when you look at this, who has register, and it shows up as being 2cows.com. 2cows.com, a Canadian company. I wonder who that is. And just think, I ended up buying a. Yeah, they even have a Canadian company, eh? Just trying to be relevant or popular in the treasure hunt community with super chats. Haha. Yeah. Um. Yeah. 45,000 subscribers in the treasure hunt community is a lot, honestly. Some of these videos have had a lot of views. John Collins, Posey, Golden Greed, Big Boost. Um, I mean, I'd like to say that this treasure hunting community is a movement, but sometimes I just think it's a bowel movement. uh, the same people. There's a lot of cross promotion. It's all the same people. You take 20 people who get together and cross promote. It makes you feel like they have 5,000 people interested. You know, it's just crazy that I mean that multiplier is so huge in the treasure hunting game, and you know half of what I say is prompted and scripted. You know, but I mean I was really shocked with the Copilot results. That was really kind of surprising, and I didn't realize that was going to be what was going on there. But you know, I just got to get out of the Forrest Fenn hole. I mean, you know, if you're in the Forrest Fenn hole, the first thing you should do is stop digging. And I just seem to want to dig some more. Dig some more. I mean, when I get attacked, I just kind of like to throw the arrow back, and it's kind of like a boomerang. You know, I'm all for communication and dialogue, but when you just question the basic premise of what somebody says on their own show, and their moderator says that, puts you in a timeout. Well, if they didn't want to claim to have influenced country music, they shouldn't have made the statement that they were an influencer in the space of country and Western music, unless they really are. Yeah, how deep is a hole? Well, it depends on when you stop digging. you know, but I mean, it seems a little unfair. I remember I was talking about the time that I went treasure hunting with K Pro and Calazars for the treasure out in Las Vegas, providing my insights, and I did this for a couple of years. And 1 year, uh, the guy that used to make the iron stuff has a welding school, Decal. Decal and his buddy went out and actually found the treasure while they were hiding it. And nobody could figure out that the clues led to Needles Highway, and it was going to be right off of Needles Highway. And I provided the impetus to get this ball rolling, and I dropped off the chat, and I guess they hung on a little bit longer and kind of figured out where they were going to drop it. And then they went out and actually caught them dropping off the Jingle Bell Rock. And then, like the next year, I was pretty involved in it, and it was heading out to Horseman's Park, and eventually it led to there's a trail, I guess, that goes up to the chlorine tanks at the waste treatment plant that's still part of Horseman's Park. And I don't know if K-Pro walked over it that year or what happened, but I'm sitting here just chatting about this on their show, and they didn't want this information exposed. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why. It wasn't because they cut me out of the treasure twice. I mean, it wasn't because of that, I'm sure. It's probably because they were managing Forrest Fenn. They had him. I'm a small fish. The fish they had on the hook was Forrest Fenn, because they had fished out all of his email conversations with people, and were using it to get things. And I was a small fish in that pond. And whenever you start talking about this stuff, you get banished and banned. And if I think if more people would come forward with their experience with that, it would be good for the community. And maybe I can talk Chad into it. Maybe I can talk Chad into finally fessing up that he's on the payroll of Chase Inc. And we can really blow this thing up. But I don't think I'll be able to get him to do that. It's now time for the disclaimer. The David Paisano show is totally made up. It's things that come into your mind when you're sleeping at night. And when you wake up the next morning, you just seem to have to get them off your chest, so to speak. So take this all with a big grain of salt. You might even want to have a salt shaker. Hell, you might even want to go to Hutchinson, Kansas and mine the damn thing. Go to the salt mine and get enough to take it with. Because it's pretty deep right now, but hey, I'm just trying to make somebody else's life easier. I mean, you've done a lot to make mine the way it is. So let's see how much we can put back like a boomerang. What comes around goes around. Maybe more people start asking questions about things that happened and what your involvement was and why you did things. And if more of us come forward and say what they did and when and why and how, it's just a matter of time. Oh, there's Mario. Publicly made up, David, and y'all. Thanks for the y'all. It's rarely you get a y'all this early in the morning. Apparently. How deep is the hole? It's above the ground, but below the dirt. Yeah, I'm digging up dirt. Digging up dirt. There's a country western song in there, Chad. Maybe you can use it. Oh. No, it's digging up bones. The country western song is digging up bones. That seems appropriate now, doesn't it? Digging up bones. That seems pretty appropriate. Oh man. Well, man, I got up last night like 5 times. Two huge meals in a day is not a good form because I got up like five. I was close, but I was able to keep it down and clean it out, and it worked out. Well, there's Steve Klein with the live long and prosper. So I went up on my roof this week. Here's the bad thing: if you use roofing tar and you don't use gloves, uh, it's hard to get off. But I was up on my roof, so now you see some roofing tar there. Anyway, and I had a couple shingles blow off, and they want like $11,000 to replace a $7,000 roof job. I don't know, it's crazy. I bid this job out 4 years ago, and it was $7,000, and now they want 11. Anyway, so I decided I would just go put a couple of shingles where one or two shingles had blown off, and put some, if you put roof tar down and then you put the shingle on top, it's going to pretty much stay with a couple of nails. But anyway, the stuff sticks and you just can't wash it off. It's kind of like the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. You just can't wash it off of you. If there's an analogy for the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, it's like going and getting tar and feathers. Bird. Anyway, it's like getting tarred and feathered. It's hard to get the tar and feathers off. Uh, if you'll indulge my patience for a moment, I did find the quote from the Chinese restaurant. What did I do with that? I probably lost it again. Oh, let me see if I have that. I want to read this quote. It's important. I was gonna go out to a farm auction today, but I guess I could just spend my birthday here live streaming all day instead. All right, so here's the quote. Here is the actual real quote, because it's better if you read the real quote. The quote is, doing what you love is freedom. Loving what you do is happiness, which is a little different than what I said last night. So, doing what you love is freedom. Loving what you do is happiness. Now, isn't that great? And I mean, and I didn't make this up. Some people at a Chinese restaurant made this up. And by the way, if you want to know you want to learn about dried noodles and play some lotto, there's some good stuff there on the back. Well, thanks, Steve Klein. I'm trying to make it a happy birthday. Uh, I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy. I didn't think I'd live that long. So I wrote a book called 60. Anyway, uh, that's a Forrest Fenn joke with Eric Sloan about the book 80. In case you didn't get that. Now my phone's ringing, of all things. I hope it's probably my mom or something. Should I go answer the phone? It's probably a happy birthday wish or something. But uh, anyway, the Captain Kids wishing some happy birthday that because they didn't know. Well, I try not to tell everybody when I was born, but it's a significant milestone. You know, almost 60. It doesn't quite get you to the treasure, but you have to be almost 80 if you want to get to the treasure. Mario says happiness is the pot. Freedom allows you to do that. Still no Fenn ghost yet. Oh man, I kind of retired the Fenn ghost. I thought maybe that's what was keeping me from getting the treasure. But I guess it was something else. I guess if you saw my co-pilot show, I guess I guess I never actually searched for Forrest Fenn's treasure according to co-pilot. So maybe that's why I didn't find it. Maybe I should do some more co-pilot searching today and ask if David Olson has looked for the there's treasure inside treasure. We can do that live if you want. I encourage everybody to type their name into a chat bot, chat GTP, or Copilot, Gronk, whatever your choice is, and see what it says about you. And then decide if you want AI to be making major decisions about whether you have cancer, be making major decisions about shooting down jets, because by and large, I have tried some of these artificial intelligence engines and just asked them questions about me that I know the answers to. And some of this Copilot, Chat GTP, some of the answers you get are just not fully vetted, not correct. And it's like, okay, so what if I had a tumor and it is as reliable in predicting whether it's a real tumor or not, and you're using this AI in science to advance medicine, and yet you can't even discern whether or not I was a searcher for the Forrest Fenn treasure? Hold on now. I've been doing this for how many years? Have I had a show about this? And yet Copilot can't correctly identify that? And you want it to search for malignancy or cancerous cells? Okay. Good luck with that approach. I don't know. It's just I'm having a battle with AI right now because I didn't like the results I got from AI. But I guess eventually we'll all be living on a space station anyway, someday, somewhere out in space. Is this a good time to talk about Blasted Beloved Breckenridge? Um, Ian, where's Ian? This is Ian's time. I was expecting to see him here, but I guess not. Anyway, well, I found this book. It was called BBB, and I found this book, and it was called this. It was called The Sketchbook by Jeffrey Crayon. It was written by George Washington Irving. And it says right here in the Thrill of the Chase, it says in a chapter in the Teachers with Ropes that he found out who Washington was and the British, and that made all the difference. That's right in the book there. So I think Washington's probably important to this whole Forrest Fenn caper out there. Well, there's K-Pro right now. Hey, you missed out earlier. I was giving some good stuff there, K-Pro. Yeah, happy birthday. It's truly happy. I made it through the night after Chinese and let's just say not the best chicken fried steak in the world. So I survived in the night. That was a major boost. That was a major boost right there. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to do today. I was going to go out to an auction here a little bit later, list a few things sell. Mario, I don't know if Mario's on vacation or not. I don't know which book to pick up. But I mean, I don't know which book is the one to look at. This could be. So I found that there was a book that was important to the solve, and I really didn't realize that the book was that important to the solve until I started reading it. And it was this book right here. Apparently, all the clues and answers were in this book. But I didn't have the book until 2017, and I went out looking for the treasure in 2015. I don't know, being a poem purist, it seemed to me like Forrest was breaking down all the answers to the thrill of the chase and putting them on his blog, the old Santa Fe Trading Company. And it seemed like you could garner just as much information from the curated postings on the old Santa Fe Trading Company website as you could from actually having the book. And so for me, I had the poem and I had the Moby Dickens interview and I had the other Santa Fe interviews and a few things on Down Neitzel's site. And I didn't think I really needed the book in order to solve Forrest Fenn's treasure. And he had said enough things. He had enough quote unquote slip ups as early as 2015 and 2016 that if you just kept listening to what the man said, you could figure it out. And along with the postings that were on the old Santa Fe Trading Company. And so it was quite some time before I actually ordered the book because I wasn't going to be the guy that, paid $60 for a treasure hunt. I was going to win for free. Well, I ended up buying some more books, and I don't know how much I'm into this bike now, but it's probably, if my time was worth $20 an hour, I would have spent over $100,000 on this treasure hunt. So if that's the perspective, if my time is not worth anything, then I spent like maybe $2,000. It's all relevant. It's all relevant. And what is your time worth? Having expired, 59 whole years of my life, having that much of it expired, time becomes more important the older you get, because the older you get, the less of it you have. But that's really a misnomer. You have a finite amount of time in your life. It's just how you have chosen to use those minutes. And when you get older, you realize that you've used more of the minutes that you may have potentially than what you'll ever have or get. And, that's why when you're 5 years old and your mom and dad tells you that, next year you'll get a bicycle, it's an excruciatingly painful thing to wait a year for a bicycle. When you're 20 years old and it'll be let's say you're 18 years old or 16, and your parents say you'll get a car next year. Well, it's not quite as painful because, the 15 years you live, one more year is 1/15 of your existence. Whereas when you're 5 years old and getting a bicycle, it's 1/5 of your existence. But when you get to be 60 years old and somebody tells you you'll get a treasure next year, you start wondering if you'll even have that year to get that treasure. And so time becomes longer when you're younger, and it becomes more important when you're older, when you realize that you have less of it. I don't know what I'm going for here, but that's just a perspective. In that, the closer you get to 80, the more important that year is. That year is going to pass so much faster when you're 79 as opposed to when you're 5. And, I guess these are the things that people start thinking about. I was talking with my buddy last night, and we were talking about how we used to go into the feed store and look at all the old farmers sitting around, talking about the weather, and wondering why they were wasting so much of their time just sitting there talking about the weather. As we started to talk about the weather, I realized that we were the old men just sitting around talking about the weather. In other words, we'd become those old people that we used to wonder why they're not doing something while they're just sitting there, talking about the weather. So I don't know. MJ said it's all relevant. Yeah, it's all relevant for sure. But I found the second book was important too. Uh, yeah, that, books. How many books? I think all books were important to Forrest Fenn. Whistling Bunghole says, my cousin says, well, this is hearsay. You were born on a perfect date. Not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. Also, moo. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know what the perfect day to be born is. There is this weird thing called the people that have died. People born on and died on the same day. It happens. It's a 1 in 365 and a quarter possibility. Probably statistically more unlikely for somebody that was born on a leap year. I mean, think about, I don't know if there's anybody that was born on a leap year day and died on a leap year day. That would be somebody special indeed right there. But otherwise, you have like a 1 in 365 chance to be born on and die on the same day. And there's a list of people who have indeed been born and died on the same day. Uh, anyway, Mario says that 2801 1963 is three ones. Uh, I guess. Uh, yeah, these second books. But so anyway, I was solving with the slip ups that Forrest had given out, and you know, if you entered the thrill of the chase at the exact right time, I think that you may have had an advantage over other people because uh, the subjects that were being talked about were real. They were leading towards a discovery and not leading away from a discovery. Um, I think there was a zenith, a period of time around 20, about the 5 year. I think there was I think about the 3 or 4 year mark of the Forrest Fenn treasure. I think there was a period of time where Forrest actually wanted to have the treasure found. And I don't know why, but this is just my opinion. It feels like the amount of data, the data set that was being created at about that time was one that would lead you to potential discovery. Culminating the next information together. The next book he put out, Too Far to Walk, where he found that he could take some of those stories that he put on the old Santa Fe Trading Company blog site, make them into a larger effort of a book. Seemed to be something that would serve his needs of putting out a second book. And of course, it became a narrowing event because it had a map in it, and it changed the search area. And I'm not saying that Jack Stuef could have possibly found the treasure in 2013, but it makes me wonder. It seems like at about that time there was an effort underway with the publishing of the second book uh, that was leading people away from generally talked about areas that had been surfacing, and they'd given Forrest the key to the city, right? They've done a lot of different things, and I'm starting to wonder if the uh, true solver is Jack, and he found it in 2013 and maybe even 2014. And the whole effort to change the search area had started at that point with the publishing of the book Too Far to Walk, but seemed to want to move people to the northern state, specifically Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park, and the additional stories that were in that. And the whole entire effort to change the narrative of the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt could have started as early as the publishing of the Too Far to Walk book. And, this is going to be shocking to a lot of people to hear that, oh, the treasure guy found it 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. before the the actual announcement? Well, why not? Why not? If you start plotting on a timeline when things started to happen in the Forrest Fenn community and who was involved and what happened and where people were searching and how the search area changed over time, you can go back as far as 2013. And, the Moby Dickens bookstore was where I think we had an official announcement of the new book. That event, I think, was held for two reasons. I think it was held for Jack, and I think it was held for Forrest, and to start what they wanted to accomplish, and that was giving all of us a alternative path to discovery of the treasure chest. And uh, as some of us were hired to provide certain commentary and information to the community, that seemed to drive the behavior of the searchers. And before you knew it, everybody had packed up and moved north. And now my phone's ring. It's just probably my buddy Keith. All right, I'm going to go see who's on the phone. Uh, don't want to miss out on anything. Oh, well, that's my aunt and uncle calling. The last time I had a birthday, and my aunt and uncle called me for my birthday, I was on the road between Albuquerque and Alamogordo a year ago. So they're calling. They're going to wish me happy birthday. They're going to sing happy birthday to me in German or French or some foreign language. They'll probably call again, but uh, I'm gonna either. I guess I could just. Anyway, I guess I'll just finish my thoughts on that and then call them back. But anyway, so this whole group of people that's been staging the Dow, Chase Chat, Cynthia, Carl, and some of the others. When were they put in place? That's the question you wonder. When were they put in place? Uh, were they put in place as early as 2013? Had things been adequately planned out at that point? Uh, was it 2014? Was it 2015? Uh, there's so many things that have happened. LLCs and uh, other businesses, and Forrest Publishing Business, the Construction Reporter, Santa Fe Helicopters. All of these things came into existence, and we're part of what the business was. What is the business? Uh, was the business a gallery? What was the business? Who got the business? How did the business operate? What kind of machine was it? Well, I mean, until the people who were the cogs and the wheels of this machine start to come forward and say, hey, this is the part I played. Hey, this is what I did. Hey, this is kind of how it worked. Until that all happens, I don't think we're going to get anywhere. I mean, we're all just sitting here spinning our wheels. But Greg tried to do this. There's been people trying to do this for years. Uh, let's say disassemble the machine, backwards engineer it, figure out how it all worked. There's people who've been trying to do this, and I don't know what their approach may have been the reason it didn't the wheels didn't fall off, so to speak. Maybe it was the approach, but I think if there is a honest approach to this, maybe we can get the wheels to come off, and maybe we can find out really what happened. Um, but I don't know what it's going to take to that moving. Um, Obviously, many people will claim that they have a non-disclosure agreement and can't discuss it. Others will say that it's confidentiality between, Forrest and me as the attorney, right? Uh, but we're getting dribs and drabs out of bedroom confessions. As more and more bedroom confessions happen, oh, like, well, such and such told me this while we were in the hot tub, or such and such told me this while we were hiking, or when Matt and Justin and myself and others were filming for Golden Greed, we got this little piece of information. And if we could just put it all together, I think we could come up with you know who and what and where and when uh, these agreements were made, and why they were made, and who they were made for the benefit of. But unfortunately, you take a group of people who are hired for one thing, and they see that there's an opportunity to benefit in a different way, and all of a sudden that's what they do. They figure out a way to benefit in a different way. And the guy that originally put them in place for one thing is finding out that they're being stabbed in the back. The chase was a big production. Dal, Cynthia, Toby, they were all in cahoots with the chase puppet master. Well, who was the puppet master? Is the puppet master Forrest? Who was the who was it? Uh, the fan is spinning and it is about to hit duck and cover. Well, the fan from the movie Airplane was spinning too, so to speak. But yeah, I I wish we could. I wish Mario says that there's a planned ending and allowed the assault and handshake validation. Uh, yeah, handshake validation. So phones are an issue. Yeah, there is so much information that you can get off of your phone computer these days that uh, we've had one dark ages before, but we could be moving if we turn everything over to AI. We will probably be moving into a second dark ages because I just based upon the results I got yesterday from AI. The results are not incredibly accurate, so to speak. So the Hoof wants to know, was Forrest the chase puppet master or just the lead puppet? Well, there is the Barbara Anderson cake theory that eventually, Doug Preston's going to hop out of a cake and say, "It was me all along." And for this was Doug Preston's uh, telling of the story of Maxwell Broadbent and the codex, if you will. And Forrest was just playing the role of Maxwell Broadbent, and that there's some Baraboo character yet to be announced. But I'm thinking Barabo was probably Jack Stuef. I don't know. So the Hoop thinks that Preston is the puppet master. I don't know. Uh, I think Doug Preston has, and I think Preston and Child has a reputation that doesn't necessarily need to include Forrest Fenn in it. But then again, Preston did kind of grow up along those uh, northeastern roots where the stories of Headless Horseman and the Tappan Zee and Emily Dickinson and all those other influences from that genre of writing could possibly have influenced for a descendant of Emily Dickinson's family, to have not interacted with or known of George Washington Irving, author of similar ilks and time frame, could lead you to believe that maybe Preston did write and put together this whole production about George Washington Irving and the Headless Horseman and the Tappan Zee and, Pillow Down and Sent It In and all these little nuances, Terry Scant, Terrytown, New York. Maybe it was all his fanciful creation of a time and place that happened in the history of New York, and the writing and the biography of George Washington. Maybe it was all of that, or maybe Doug Preston grew up and wrote a book, and one of his greatest desires was to go out west and to trace the route of Coronado, and then to write a book about it called Talking to the Ground. And maybe in a fanciful way, Doug Preston is involved here with the book Talking to the Ground. His experiences living in a Navajo or a Shoshone or whatever Indian tent along that path of discovery where he rode horseback, just like Donnie, into the mountains and across the plains. So it's a fanciful idea that Preston's place could be involved in all of this. Oh, it could be. It could be so much that the Preston's place does have a role or a place in all of this. Certainly could. It could be that. But far be it for me to have those answers. Define the word lead, as Forrest said. Well, I think the way in which Forrest described being in the lead is the following. Unless you're the lead searcher, the view doesn't change. Just like if you're the lead pony, unless you're the lead pony in a carousel, your view does not change. We all, of course, know that in a carousel, even the lead horse's view does not change. You could probably get that from Holden Caulfield and the final scene of The Catcher in the Rye, where, well, it's not the final scene, but in the carousel scene of The Catcher in the Rye, after having been to the museum, little girl wants to ride on the carousel. And at the very, very zenith of the story is the grasping for the brass ring. And when you get down to it, Forrest Fenn, I think, wanted you to grasp the brass ring. But unfortunately, I believe that the brass ring disappeared. And I can prove it from historical photographs that the brass ring indeed did disappear. There was a statement Forrest said one time about somebody was at the blaze, but they didn't know what it meant, or they had discovered something, but they didn't know what it meant. And that was part of the whole puzzle, is that you could randomly discover something, but unless you'd read the book and knew what you discovered, you didn't want to know what it meant. I mean, I liken it to a game of ring toss, if you will. Preston knew the spot, and something significant was said. How could that be? Also, the Arizona cart part, not denier. Well, I one time figured out the girl from India was. I think the girl from India was probably Charlotte Hall, who, in the discovery of Arizona and the Arizona territory, is probably the lead figure in the Forrest in the history of Arizona. because she worked, I think, for the governor, was the governor's aide de camp or whatever, and was a writer and newspaper person in Arizona. And so I think the Arizona information, I think, could possibly lead you to um, the girl from India being Charlotte Hall. But anyway, Forrest was the ultimate frontman for Preston's Opus treasure hunt. It wouldn't have reached the heights that it did without Forrest Fenn. Well, I think that you are onto something there in that Forrest Fenn's reputation and financial capabilities and the things that he was interested in lent himself well to being the host of a treasure hunt. An author like Preston, uh, people would probably question his credentials. First of all, oh, he's just writing a book in order to sell more, in order to sell more novels. He just put a treasure hunt in his book in order to sell more books. That's what you probably would have got from Doug Preston had he be the person that wrote the book and had the treasure. The Pendergast series would suddenly become not only you could become Pendergast if you solve my book and puzzle. I mean, that's the kind of thing that would have came out of that. And then people would have asked about his charitable giving. And, Preston, yes, probably a charitable guy, but he's not the guy that had enough artwork to fill a museum. He's not the guy that had enough antiquities to fill a museum. Okay. But Forrest Fenn did. And so you're right. A front man like Forrest Fenn would obviously be a better treasure hunt promoter than an author like Doug Preston. Whether that actually happened or not, I don't know. They said they see all of this stuff about New York and how Preston met Forrest Fenn. These are the building in which that occurred is a direct reference to, some of the places that you could say George Washington Irving's fictionalized characters, especially the one about the uh, the hotel and Jeffrey Crayon. You can make direct parallels between that relationship and how they met in New York. Eric Sloane, having died at a certain corner in New York City, is also historically relevant to the history of George Washington Irving as well. And so I don't really want to go all blasted beloved Breckenridge on you today, but in many of the things that Forrest Fenn and talking about Eric Sloane is traffic light, um, the apartment where Forrest went and visited Mrs. Uh, Patton, was it, or Douglas MacArthur? All these references to New York in Forrest's casual conversations and things that he wrote about, mirror in a way some of the things that Jeffrey Crayon and George Washington Irving wrote about. And then you also get to where you start talking about teachers with ropes and George Washington uh, being discovered, and the fact that Irving wrote the defended biography of George Washington. He also wrote the history of New York. Uh, uh, he used the word Terry, scant, uh, uh, and he's famously buried in Terrytown. Morris was pillowed down and sent it in. And his last words of George Washington Irving was, uh, I must adjust my pillows now. And then he died. But I guess what I'm saying is that if you want to look at an author who may have some direct correlation to the book, The Thrill of the Chase, it's probably George Washington Irving than, Ha 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 or BBB. I think there's more relevance. There's more relevance to that. Um, the 4-Edge book the 4-Edge books come from the era of the Gilded Age, if you will. Uh, the whole entire story where he introduces you to the flashing light and the famous story of Cross the Hudson. Oh, we weren't paying attention in this chapter about important literature where we were talking about Daisy and that being the light across the Hudson. Oh, yeah. There's so many of those New York little nuances. The ambulance driver, all the stories. Uh, what is the story with Daisy? Um, the Gilded Age and Daisy. DiCaprio played the main character in the movie. Uh, but anyway, Holden Caulfield, the whole entire book uh, occurs as a fanciful trip across New York City to the museum. Wonder why that was all important literature. It all happened where? As well as the Sloan stuff as well. All right, what's going on? Hey, it's Nomadic Madman. Uh, there's sure been a lot of Fenn chat lately. Yeah, I'm just procrastinating. I was going to go to a farm auction today, buy some stuff I don't need. But then I decided I'd just start talking about Forrest Fenn today. Get it off my chest. Redneck Expressway, or Who Farted? Oh, god damn it. Nomadic got me. Dang it. I was able to make it through all of the other hoof remarks without saying it. The madman just woke up. I dreamed the treasure was found. Oh, what island were you on? Did you go to Gardner's Island? Where's Gardner's Island? Where's Gardner's Island at? Is Gardner's Island anywhere near the blasted beloved Breckenridge area? Or is Gardner's Island part of New York? Named after Gardner, by the way. What was Gardner's first name? Did anybody take time to look up Gardner's first name? The founder of Gardner's Island? Anybody? Anybody at all? Oh, probably not. Yeah, I spent $100,000 worth of time on this. I looked up everything. I dreamed the treasure was found. It's top of the morning. Were you jarred awake? Yeah, jars. How about them jars and bells? Anybody found one of those yet? Nomadic lives in the land of roosters. Oh, I thought that was just the Forrest Fenn community. What's the land of roosters? Welcome in. I hope it don't ruffle your feathers. How's your waddle looking today? Did you comb it? Okay, that's probably about the end of the chicken rooster egg jokes. I'm sorry, I'm all out. Sorry, I'm all out of those jokes. Oh, nobody's putting his earplugs back in. Sorry. Was your birthday yesterday? Well, technically it's today. All day. So I'm a midnight baby. I'm honest to God, I'm actually not 60. Honest to God, I'm not quite 60 years old yet. But I was a baby that was delivered between, let's say, 11:58 and 12:04, and the doctor pulls me out, and he says, "Well, it's around midnight. We can either put the date of birth on the April 25th or on the April 26th. What do you want to say?" Well, this was obviously a real conundrum because my mom and dad were married on the 26th, and my mom was born on the 25th. And hence my birthday ended up being the 25th. In the world of odd coincidences, this just in. My father's dad was born on the 25th of February, and my mom was born on the 25th of February. Statistically, how likely is it for you to find a husband whose father was born on the same date? Now, it'd be honestly a little bit more interesting and confusing if they were born on the same day. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Look at Donald Trump and Ivana. Anyway, could have been born on the. Oh, yeah. One of them's dad could have been born on the same day. Donald was born on the same day as Ivana's father. Imagine that. I just woke up Kiwi with that. That statement is opposite to scented in. He was uncomfortable, definitely not warm, Forrest. Was your birthday yesterday? It's today. I can't remember. Well, neither can I. Well, Hoof has given me another happy birthday, thanks. And a cake. Jeff's up and going. He says, good morning. Half the day is gone already. You don't look a day older. All right, thanks. Hey, Jeff, he definitely looks at least 4 hours older. Well, I'm telling you, it was the steak I had last night. I used to work for Allied Waste, so I took trash out for a while. Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I looked that up when I was in the Forrest Fenn treasure thing, and it comes from that actual linguistic quote. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Comes from this Caldwell, who wrote this book about. Oh God, I can't remember. But anyway, it's a really old book series. I think it's called Francis Caldwell, who wrote this book called The Popular Tales of the West Highlands. And so in the book, Popular Tales of the West Highlands, in the introduction, there's a discussion between this author and another author. And the time that phrase was ever actually used was in this prelude or introduction to the book. And it said, and the phrase was, and one man's rubbish is another man's, I don't know, something. And that was the first actual use of the one man's trash is another man's treasure. Yeah, good day. The good old days of filling a dumpster up with a bunch of stuff and then telling you need to find a blanket. Thank you so much for that adventure. I enjoyed that so much. Glad we had that time together. But you pointed me in the right direction, so thank you for that. Mr. Nagent retracted faster than I can read. Okay, 1 in 365 odds. That's not uncommon. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I mean, of all the people and all the places and all the land, it happened to be you that walked in. Anyway, Allied Waste. When did you change from being called Kiwi? Oh. The asterisk is more common than we realize. Yeah, I guess. The Tom Mahaffey is here. It says, could an author resist the connection between Treasure Island and Robert Louis Stevenson? No, because Lewis is involved. Um, sure would be tempting, especially if you marry the bay to a map. Well, anything that has Lewis involved is going to catch my eye. After all, you're looking for Lewis and Clark. Clark Griswold found the treasure. It was in Wally World. I'm going to put together a treasure hunt where you have to look at all the movies that I like and discern where it is that they all have in common. I'm going to start a treasure hunt where you have to look at all the video games that I enjoy and figure it out. And then I'm going to change my treasure hunt weekly and see if you still want to play. Well, hey, there's Luli Bell. Man, we got a pretty big Saturday crowd here. What's Luli Bell up to today? Oh, wish we could get Zozo in here to play some music. It's kind of awfully dead in here right now. But any more questions? I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to make up stuff. I was going to go to an auction. It started at 10. But I guess I haven't left yet. But yeah, I'm all up for questions. Robert Louis Stevenson, that was a Tom had a really great catch there on why that was in the book. Nomadic wants to know, is there any coffee? Well, I did buy my mom three jars of instant coffee the other day because she was out, said she was getting close to being out of coffee. So I do have some instant coffee. I actually, I didn't give up my Diet Coke for my birthday. I haven't even had breakfast, but for those who know, I ate too much last night. I bought this is my third book, if you will, my third or fourth book of Forrest Fenn, and I bought this from somebody that had a stinky home, and I don't think I'll ever get the stench out of this book. Every time I open this book, it has a stench to it. It's got the smell, right? And it's smell-o-vision. And I don't think I'll ever get this out of here. But these postmarks. Did you know? For those of you who believe in a Wyoming solve, I think I should probably tell you this, but again, I just make shit up, or I give you historical facts that match the profile of Forrest Fenn's treasure. You can decide. But so William Cody, when he was the Pony Express was recruiting writers, and one of the criteria that the Pony Express always had was that they wanted their writers to be young and fit. So they really just wanted like kids, honestly, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. And well, it's not the record, it's close to the record, but William Cody was a Pony Express writer when he was like 16 years old. And when he was 16 years old, he had a route in Wyoming where he rode for the Pony Express. And, Bill Cody, riding for the Pony Express, was riding through some dangerous areas. And sometimes you'd get to the next postal station, and the postal station would not have a rider, but they'd have the horses for the rider. And one documented episode in his career as a Pony Express rider, which only lasted like 2 years, because the telegraph basically was invented about the same time the Pony Express got started. And he rode 332 miles uninterrupted in order to deliver the mail. And so this was all happened in Wyoming. I can't remember exactly what the route was that Bill Cody had at that time, but it was in Wyoming. And as a Pony Express rider, he had the it wasn't the record, but had one of the longest rides, if you will. Uh, and I'm not saying that that long ride happened at the same exact spot where Forrest had his long ride home, because that might have been in Montana or not. I don't know. Can't remember. Can't remember where the long ride home happened. But anyway, the postmarks in the book could match potentially the rides of Buffalo Bill Cody, Buffalo Bill, Bison Bill. I don't know. See, that's the thing. If Buffalo Bill Cody would have lived in a previous period, he would have been called Bison Bill Cody. But no, he's Buffalo Bill Cody. Other inferences could be made here as to what Bill Cody Museum, Center of the West, his rides in Wyoming. But then again, Bill Cody, when he turned 18, towards his 20s, was in Kansas as a member of the 7th Cavalry. And during his days in Kansas, unfortunately, about this time, his mother passed away. His father had died, like when he was 9 or 10 years old. And, it struck him pretty hard. He became a avid drinker. Then the railroads were coming through, and the Kansas Pacific Railroad Company needed food. And one of the things that was plentiful out on the plains of Kansas was buffalo. And then Buffalo Bill Cody got a contract for $500 a month to provide food, mainly bison kills, to the railroad company. And he became a bison hunter at that point in time. And if you want to go out here on I-70, there's a Buffalo Bill tribute of him with his long gun, chasing after buffalo, because he did that for a period of time. You got to remember, $500 a month in the what was it, 60s maybe, shortly after the Civil War. That was a lot of money. That'd be like $50,000 a year compounded. That's what he was making to hunt these bison, Buffalo Bill. And so again, he spent some time in Kansas, and then he was in the military, and I think he signed it up either with Missouri or Kansas, and went and fought some battles down in the South. But then again, afterwards, you realize he then discovered himself as a promoter, and had a wagon train show, visited so many. If you go to the Buffalo Bill Center of the West, you'll encounter a map that has a push pin of every place that the Buffalo Bill team arrived and performed a show. And it's not just a U.S. map; it's a global map, because they were over in Europe as well. And it was pretty impressive, the life of Buffalo Bill Cody. Kiwi wants to know, did you ever go arrowhead hunting, especially on your property? We did have a few people that have in the past done some arrowhead hunting on this property, because I shoulder a area of the Smoky Hill River, and the Indians used to camp like 4 miles away from where I'm at on the hill up here. And they'd come down here and hunt. So yes, there are people that have found arrowheads here. I'm not saying Rex Aerosmith found an arrowhead here. I'm not saying that. But he could have, because his wife and him are from Belleville, and that arrowhead hunting community back in the 40s and 50s and 60s was not huge. Just a certain group of people did that. So, but yeah, there's some people I think that have found some arrowheads here. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's any left. The bed is the best treasure. Oh, Yes, MJ is giving us the first name of Gardner. It's Lion Gardner. Oh, and now we've got these lions. There's a video of Lion Gardner somewhere out there. Um, the moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. Nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. Alike for those who for today prepare, and those that after some tomorrow stare, a mezzanine from the tower of darkness cries, "Fools! Your reward is neither here nor there." Strange is it not that of the myriads who before us passed the door of darkness through, not one returns to tell us of the road which to discover we must travel to. And this was an important poem that was in the chapter My War for Me. And it's also something that I curiously wonder, was this poem actually in the original writing of My War for Me that was posted for the Silver Saber Society? One would want to ask that question, and also one would want to ask the question, why is this written in red lettering in the book as opposed to the black lettering that's in the book? So you pull out this somewhat oddly placed poem in My War for Me, and you wonder, why is it there? Well, perhaps we must discover the road we must travel to. Did I hear K-Pro hijack your show or your page? Does not surprise me at all. Well, I think that my end of the chase .wordpress.com, which I registered my website. I think that after the chase was over, somebody went in and got the website endofthechase.com to try to confuse people about who end of the chase is. And they put up a page that shows their song up in the Shoshone National Forest, where the crowfoot or the Blackfeet are. And when you go to the registrant for the domain name endofthechase.com, it's some outfit called Two Cows. Uh, uh, I'll share that screen. So somebody created this website, endofthechase.com, and the name of the registrant is twocows.com. And it's a Toronto company. So maybe Nelica was involved in this. But anyway, as you can see, somebody I was known as End of the Chase, and somebody decided to be endofthechase.com. So that's what all that drama there is about. The Hoof says, so what's your feeling? Is there really still more information to come out on the ending of the chase? Or has the ending all just been a big scam? And we're never going to learn anything more? Well, I think that's the question we've all been trying to answer for the last 6 years. Right there. I mean, but the fact that it's been 6 years might be the answer. You know, the fact that it's been 6 years might be the answer to that question right there. But I think that is my I keep going. That's my problem. I keep going back and forth with this. I sometimes I think that there is a reason for the season of what we've had, and other times I think it's just that it got hijacked and somebody saw greener pastures other than the pasture that they were in, um, and so they decided to go with the greener pasture. Decided to keep the prize for themselves because they found that more lucrative, and Forrest and the family couldn't do anything about it after the fact. So yeah, I don't know. That's what tears me apart. Uh, that's what tears me apart right there. Is that question right there tears me apart. Thinking that because that question asked basically is the good and evil question. That is the good and evil question right there. Are the people good people, righteous people, doing the right kind of right thing people? Or are they, hey, we found a way to actually steal Forrest Fenn's treasure from him, steal his legacy, steal what he wanted to accomplish, and take it for ourselves and launch our new treasure hunts, launch uh, our new and invented 10-year anniversary of a card game in Las Vegas where we're better card players than the people we invite and we have a better chance of winning the pot. That's all that's about. That's all it's about. Let's get a bunch of amateur poker players in a room, have a pretty good sized buy in, and be the better poker players. And the same people uh, end up winning that event every year. So that's pretty much the deal. Is it good or is it evil that we are looking forward to? And that's the biggest problem. I vacillate as to whether or not these are kind and spiritual people looking to do the right thing, or whether these other people that are involved in this are just takers, fakers, and shakers. And I'm I'm just not a very good judge of character, I guess. Just wondering if I have a schedule. Well, yes, of course. The event is held on the 16th of May, and then they also have one in the fall. But anyway, May 16th, I'm going to be out at the Folsom Man site for the afternoon session. I don't know if they're sold out for the morning session. Probably are. Then I'm going to stay in Raton on the night of the 16th. Wake up on the morning of the 17th and figure out how long I can, stay in New Mexico before I come back. Uh, last night I already pointed out to people that I've already done my treasure hunt for Justin's Posey and treasure hunt in Alamogordo, and all roads seem to lead to Alamogordo or Truth or Consequences. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that part of the state. You got the Birdman's his roost. The Birdman's roost is in that part of the state. Uh, this lady that's connected to the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt lives in Alamogordo. Uh, Justin Posey's family history traces to Alamogordo. Uh, Alamogordo is pretty damn close to the map's edge. And El Paso. Anyway, anyway, so, but yeah, but they're trying to limit Justin Posey's treasure hunt to north of New Mexico. Well, I see Alamogordo on the map. Is it 75 miles south of Santa Fe? I don't know. Anyway, so there's all of that. So anyway, yeah. I don't know how long I can stay in New Mexico, but my only hotel reservation is for the 17th or the night of the 16th. Uh, and oh shit, did I make that reservation for the 16th or the 17th? I better check on that. I might be sleeping in my car. Anyway, but I don't know. Somebody suggested there's a kebab steakhouse that would be good. But anyway, so anyway, no one returns to tell us of the road, which to discover we must travel to. So I think that's instructive information. Uh, and the other question I've always asked um, is, the old page. What was it? Page 99, page 95. Oh, illustration on page 99. Uh, yeah, that's a tropical thing. I don't know. But I mean, I've said this in the past, and if you really want to discover Forrest Fenn's hiding spot, he pretty much spells it out in the book. I just read you the poem that's the most important poem in the book. I didn't see when I was solving Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt without having the book and the other poems and all this other information. I was I had less confirmation bias, but when I got the book, I was full confirmation bias because I found so many other things in this book that were solve elements that I didn't have when I was researching this in 2013 and earlier. This particular book is the sixth printing of 7,000 copies. Six seven, six seven, six seven. Uh, and Forrest Fenn had moved from Earthlink to Gmail by now. Anyway, the treasure photographs are by Addison Doty. Did you know Addison Doty took some other pictures? Wonder which ones those were. So I just read you about the road, right? So the preface of the book on page 4. Um, uh, so his churches in the mountains and along the river bottoms where dreams and fantasies alike go to play. The next statement is a further confirmation of what we're needing to acquire from the book. Varied are the many roads I've traveled to reach my 80 years, and not all have been paved with smiles and accolades. Okay, so if that doesn't give you a starting point to find Forrest Fenn's treasure, I don't know what does. Okay, it's right there in front of you. He mentions in My War for Me a poem that mentions that the road that discover, we must discover it too to find the door. So eventually we're going to find Chad's door, and it's going to be blocked because it keeps changing and moving in a different location. Lily Bell has a turquoise claim in Nevada, and it's going really well. Oh, cool. I hope you find many acres of. I hope you find your acres of turquoise. Your acres of turquoise. So varied are the many roads I've traveled to reach my 80 years. And again, when he wrote that statement, he was 79. Probably wasn't 80. So anyway, if to be content has been my goal, then I've been successful my share of the time. But that's not to boast about all the things that happened along the way. Gaining experience wasn't always peaceful, especially during my early years of anxiety. So he tends to use some words that aren't in the dictionary, and I bend a little. My only goal in this endeavor is to talk about a few of my life experiences, and if any readers over the age of 12, don't see a little of themselves in this mirror, then maybe they deserve another turn. So we've got a road you must travel. We've got 80 and 12. Maybe you need to take another turn. And so I'm not going to go all Siri on you at this point and give you turn by turn directions on finding Forrest Fenn's treasure. But I will have given you the methodology for finding Forrest Fenn's treasure. Now, I'm going to say this. I didn't have the turn by turn directions when I found Forrest Fenn's treasure because I didn't have this book. Okay? I didn't have the book. And yeah, I did say it. I found Forrest Fenn's treasure. Again, the disclaimer is the show's totally made up. I just randomly say things to get reactions. Okay? But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I use the turn by turn directions provided to you in this book because I didn't have the book. So there's multiple ways in which you can find Forrest Fenn's treasure. You can use the turn by turn directions that he gives you in the book, that he lays out in the preface as your starting points, or you can ignore that and try to solve it just with the poem or with what he said. And by the time he got to saying things that were not in the book that could be used as a clue, there was a whole second set of clue set out there. And I give Toby Eunice credit for, well, if he would have died before he wrote the book Too Far to Walk or did an interview, the only data set you have would be this one. So this has got to be your best data set, right? This is just what you can get out of this book. And so I don't know too many people that will want to take the travel and the path. And I'm not sure this will help you find John Collins Black's treasure, the Forrest Fenn version, because I don't know if John Collins Black ever discovered the turn-by-turn directions that were in this book. So his solving of the Forrest Fenn treasure and his ideas are going to have to be based upon what methodology he thought was relevant to finding the treasure. I guess what I'm saying is, I think that's the solving method. At some point, you have to turn alpha. In other words, not all paved roads start with a number, and you'll have to discern the alpha. When you start turning alpha, you'll have to discern that. But what I'm saying is, you can utilize the book to get to your destination, and that the book worked. The book works, and maybe if nothing else, in the coming month or so, I will become the second solver of Forrest Fenn's treasure by telling you how Siri is in this book and where Siri speaks to you. And so maybe I don't get the claim, maybe I don't get the prize, maybe I don't get to be Jack Stuef, but maybe I get to be the guy that tells you how his book was supposed to be used to solve his treasure hunt. Maybe I won't be the guy that went out and found the treasure. Maybe I won't be the guy that got awarded the treasure. But maybe I will be the guy. And maybe Copilot will finally recognize me as being the fucking searcher that I was for 10 years. And maybe I'll get my recognition from Copilot that I deserve. That there was a method. There is a method. And it's in the book. And if you follow that method, it will take you to the place, that special place. Know what that gets you? Nothing. Absolutely. It doesn't get you anything. I don't even think it'll get you an upgrade on Copilot from being a small YouTuber to a important YouTuber. But it's something that I can do. It's something that will give me freedom. And just as the Chinese proverb said, it will lead to happiness. Now I've lost my Chinese cookie again. Oh, turquoise is nice. A crew of 6 are working around the clock in the Lily Bell mine. Wow, you are pretty serious about it. Jeff says, I will be driving through gold fields on or about June 7th. I wonder what gold fields are you going to be driving through? Are you going to be driving through the Forrest Fenn Finder's gold field? That is the day after the find. Gold fields. I don't even know where gold fields is. I guess it's an area that's known to Lily Bell. Okay, Hoof says, I still believe in the chase and that it's legit. I don't understand it, but I have to believe Forrest Fenn was a man of his word. Well, I mean, dead men tell no tales. Is a dead man's word any good? I don't know. You're still here? Okay. So somebody's going to stay in Tanaba and head to Reno. Isn't there a song about Reno? How's that go? I killed a man in Reno just to see him die. Okay. Yeah, there's more of that song. You should be out celebrating. It's your birthday. Well, this is my crew, or this is the people I know. Who else am I going to spend my day with? I guess I could call my aunt and uncle back. That would be a good 30-minute conversation. Well, maybe I'll head out to that auction, I guess. I'll go listen to that. But I don't know. I'm just thinking about going through the book again, throwing out all the clues that I discovered and how they fit into my solve ideas, and then I'll be done with this. What's there to celebrate? There's no treasure. I once wrote Forrest Fenn. Honest to God, wrote Forrest Fenn the following email. I'm so excited about your treasure hunt, and I'll be 50 years old next week. I just truly hope I could find this treasure or do something in my life that was important before I turned 50. And yet here I am. Oh, fantastic. Good to see you. Your question is, would you rather know the solve for yourself or take the chance you can solve it so you can share it? Oh boy, there's a deep inference in that question that the nuance is not the nuance is not missed there. And I've made this statement before about Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. The solve is never going to be shared because if it ever got confirmed, there'd be 100 people waiting in the wings to come out and say that, yep, that's the solve. I solved it in 2015. I should be the first claimant. It's me, not you. You stole my solve. And thus, with all, you end up going to court, and everybody gets to see who gets a piece of it. So Forrest Fenn confirms it was found at 9 Mile Hole. Everybody that ever searched at 9 Mile Hole has a claim to it. Line up, show me your claim. When did you file your claim? It's like claim jumping. We were talking about somebody had a claim on turquoise mine. It'd be just like people who claim that they made the first filing on a Forrest Fenn treasure mine, and that they should get all the gold that comes out of the mine because they were the first to claim it, right? So Fantastic asked the penultimate question here, which is, would you rather know the solve for yourself? And if you know the solve for yourself, then other people can't come out and claim that that was their solve too. Or take the chance you can solve it so you can share it, which is if your solve is right, then other people will come and claim that they had it and had it before you. I I used to think it was worth I used to think it was worth considering that question, honestly. But then when the contents of the chest got sold off, it pretty much became irrelevant to me. And this is the relevancy of it. Are you going to go out and ask all those people that bought stuff at Heritage Auction to give it back so you can award it to somebody and share it? Well, in essence, they did share it. It did get shared. The solve never got shared, but the treasure got shared through auction. Other people got to have a piece of it. Whistling Bunghole wants to know, are you going to Ben Baree? Well, now that there's a chance to win a replica Veneti's chest, number 72, at Ben Baree, I may have to go back to New Mexico again, second time this year. I was only planning on going out once, but I might go. I don't know. It depends on how I feel at the time. He only has gone alone in there, but so that is the question, if you will, on the mind of somebody that had solved it and was afraid to give away their solve because they'd end up sharing it due to lawsuits and if anything, Forrest proved us correct that there would be people coming forward and making claims to it, because how many lawsuits did we have, right? So I fully understand the point of that, but what value is there? There's no value anymore. There's nothing to get. I mean, is it, well, the Tesoro Legrande has a purse of money that they got from the auction. Well, Justin's claiming that he, sold the chest, and nobody knows where the money went. So nobody knows where the money went. I've been calling it Ben Baree for a year now. I've been calling it Ben Baree for a year. There's no negative connotation to that. The man's name's Ben, and he's the host, right? Why wouldn't you call it Ben Baree? I think it's great. Uh, I think his heart's in it. I think the reason he wants to do it is to show his appreciation for Forrest Fenn. He's not asking us to give a bunch of money to the cause. At least not me. I don't. Maybe he's hitting up Shiloh, but I mean, it seems to me like the good old days when Sasha Johnston and people like Desert File hosted get-togethers. It's more like that than it seems like a $99 and you can come to my Treasure Con. I mean, it has a better ring to that. I mean, I was there last year. Shiloh left before I left after I left. Shiloh showed up after I left. Fantastics. Bring in the questions. I got questions. I got questions. Anyway, let's say Zoe came to you and said, I can tell you the solve if you sign an ironclad non disclosure. Or do you think you can find a solution you would want to share as the solve and get recognition? There's so much public land out there in most parts of the world that um, I think I think I could I think any reasonable person could come up with a solution that doesn't involve private property, that doesn't involve 9 Mile Hole, doesn't involve you having to have a water crossing, doesn't involve you having to go to an island at near 9 Mile Hole in order to sufficiently meet the requirements of all the clues that are in the poem and in the book, The Thrill of the Chase. So the answer to that question is, uh, uh, are you the real question is basically an honesty question, uh, and you're not giving me an affirmative, honest You're not giving me in those two choices an honest answer opportunity because it's not really honest if you sign off on a location that someone provides you, and it's not either honest if you just make up a location uh, as the solve location. Um, but let me read the. I'm going to be a. Let me play Justin Posey. Could I read your question again? Let's say Zoe came to you and said, I can tell you the solve if you sign an ironclad non disclosure. Or do you think you can find a solution you would want to share as the solver and get recognition? Well, the premise of the first part of the question is that you don't know the solve already. And so I don't even think there's an answer to that. But the second part, I think, all the information you needed to develop, all the information that any solver needed to develop a reasonable solve was given to you in the Medium article. It was given to you in the Barbarisi book. And it was also given to you in the Educating Artie. It's been given to you through all these other different sources. So all the information you need to craft a solvable location, if you will, that's available for public perusal is there. And I don't think there's any need to go fishing for other answers than that. Oh, Keely wants to know how to play Bunko. Uh, I don't think there's any written rules to Bunko. I think you just chill up and start drinking. Let's play now. I will probably if I don't have anything going on, I will probably go to Ben Baree. I'll answer that question. Uh, I went to Ben Baree last year because I thought, okay, Shiloh's probably at least in favor of this event, is at least going to attend this event. And so I went to that event thinking that I could get at least a couple of questions asked in some sort of sidebar conversation with Shiloh. And it rubbed me the wrong way that literally 5 minutes after I left, because it looks like a storm was coming in, and I dropped off my buddy in Colorado Springs and needed to pick him up from his sister's house so we could head back and me not be arriving in Colorado Springs at 1 in the morning after having, drank a little in the morning, started at 8 o'clock. Anyway, yeah, and so I'm not 40 years old anymore. Anyway. So what at night driving? I just don't like driving at night as much as I used to enjoy it. And so anyway, and he shows up, and I'm gone, and I'm like, well, I was at least going to ask you a couple of questions. Didn't say want. My wife wants me to play bunco, so I need to learn. Ha ha ha. Well, there's a difference between wanting and needing. Yeah. The secret to life is in a country western song. In case you haven't heard it, goes something like this. Uh, it's not having what you want, but wanting what you have. That's important. Oh, wait, who sang that? Oh, the Ghost Dancer Radio. Well, I checked out a few of your videos last week. You put some pretty good genre specific music out. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Uh, your genre of music's just really a little different than mine, but yeah, I think it's great. You're probably close enough. You could go to the 16th of May romp in the park over there. Because I think aren't you out by Raton or somewhere? Anyway, um, but yeah, I'm actually going this year, so could be fun. Uh, Steve was laughing out loud at something. Uh, oh, Ghost Dancer Radio can't stand Ben. Yeah, I think Ben's an all right guy. I don't think he has a. He's not shown that. Okay, here's the difference. I don't Ben and Ashley and the group of people that he's with. Uh, maybe they're trying to promote an agenda, a certain set of answers, right? But they don't want to take your money in addition to telling their story. And that's kind of where I draw the line. Uh, some people want to give their narrative and ask for your money, where other people just want to enjoy the conversation, put out a certain narrative, uh, question your assumptions, etc., but not pester you, not ban you, not block you, unless you just really start cussing or saying, slander, slur, that kind of thing. Uh, but some people will ban you just for asking a question about something somebody already said, and that's where I think the difference. Uh, oh, oh. Uh, well, hey, you could if you want to come down to the if you're in Trinidad, you could hop on the 25 and you could head down to Folsom and go out and look at the Folsom Man site. Maybe you've already been there, but anyway, that's on the 16th of May. Um, for that reason, I'm not going for his safety. Well, that sounded like, and for that reason, I'm out. That sounded like Shark Tank. Uh, well, I'm sorry that you got into an interpersonal or battle with Ben, and I I just strive to air my I just like to air my grievances, and if we don't agree, we just agree to not agree. If you haven't been banned by Crapo, you're not paying attention. Well, I did. I just got banned yesterday. I just got banned from Chad Bird's YouTube. I got banned from K Crow's Discord a long time ago. There's a difference, but there's a difference between people who do things and are willing to accept that what they did was not the best in the world, not the best thing, and discuss it. There's a difference between those people and the people who have done bad things. And when you question them about what they did, they take no responsibility for it. They deny that they ever had that intention. And they then ban you so that there is uh, no voice of alternative opinion. And you can make that comparison between a number of people, but uh, I think it's somebody with low self esteem, honestly, that doesn't allow you to question or to ask questions or to discuss. And, it's the cancel culture that we live in. I mean, I'm not trying to cancel you. I'm just asking you why you did the things you did. And do you think they were fair? Oh, power tripping narcissist. Well, I will give you that. I will give you that, Ghost Dancer Radio. This relationship that seems to be between Shiloh and Ben, um, the access that one person has over other people is a source of contention. But can you blame somebody who has a access point, or do you blame the person that is only using one access point for information? In other words, are you misdirecting your disappointment about Shiloh not communicating with more people towards the person that he is communicating with? Supposedly. Who knows if this stuff is even real? Most of us in this community are hackers, fakers, makers uppers, whatever you want to call it. Attention grabbers, myself included. Okay, so whether any of this is even real is questionable. But if there is a real relationship there, do you blame the person who gets the information from somebody they have a relationship with, or the person who's only providing it to one person? I had the same argument with Forrest Fenn, and I defended K-Pro up until she broke her video up into a million different pieces and fed it to us like we were a bunch of lions hungry at the den. And it was like, and that's not because Tiger Lane is important to you or anything, but the whole Tiger thing. The Tiger King thing was the hugest troll of the K-Pro Calzar show ever. Coming in as being a lion tamer. Maybe she got pissed off because she finally figured out how I was trolling the show. For those who know, they know. But Evelyn Curry was a Tiger. One of my handles was Evelyn Curry. By the way, the Alamogordo High School College is the Tigers. The high school is right next to the cemetery. Anyway. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, I digressed on that. But my point is, I used to defend K-Pro as the messenger, and that if you're angry about what K-Pro is getting from Forrest Fenn as a messenger, then why are you mad at the messenger? Why not be mad at the source? But then we got the whole divided up. I kept the interview under wraps bullshit, and it's like, well, hold on, maybe I should actually be mad at the messenger for not giving me the messages. You should have just played that video in one long stream. The interview with Forrest Fenn and Doug Preston. Toby Eunice didn't keep half an interview, at least that we know about. Nomadic's so far behind in the chat, he's almost caught up. I'll ship you a lobster for your birthday. Oh, God. I wouldn't know how to cook it. Please don't. I wouldn't even know how to cook it. Fantastic says you've got a pretty good understanding of people. Well, people are people until you eat people. And then they're dinner. Ask the Donner Party. Go Dolphins, says the Captain Kid. Yeah, I don't know who they drafted last night. But anyway. Dave, I'm going to be in New Mexico the weekend before you. Oh, man, that's too bad. I don't think I can spend a whole week in New Mexico. Go down to Alamogordo to check out the graves. Justin Posey's grandparents, Noreen and Leading. He's leading us to the treasure. Oh, Lord, I apologize for that insensitivity. Everybody has to have a name. Bill, William, Lewis. My biggest problem in life is I finished a whole Diet Coke in less than, I don't know how long. But anyway. But yeah, with a chance to win a chest, I think I might go to Benbury this year. I wasn't honestly going to go, but with that kind of door prize, I mean, I might even take the train. It's actually further for me to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, to a Benbury than it is for me to go to the Folsom Man site tour. Because it's a long drive from, what is it, Clayton? It's a long drive from Clayton to Santa Fe. It's a few hours. It's a few hours. And so from Clayton, it's only like, I don't know. Well, I don't know, because I've been going through Colorado Springs the last few times I've gone to New Mexico. One time I dropped off my friend in Colorado Springs and did go to a Hyde Park event. And I didn't realize how far it was from Colorado Springs to Santa Fe. And it's almost as far as it is from Salina to Santa Fe. Okay, well, I've been on for, oh my God, my favorite number, 202. I so enjoy visiting with people on YouTube. And if you think I'm wasting my birthday doing this, don't feel that way, because this is truly a group of people that I enjoy interacting with. And, it just makes my birthday fun, if you will, to have this opportunity to chat and visit and see what's on people's minds and that kind of thing. So don't feel like I spent my time today, where I should be out celebrating, because I am going to go out and go to this auction and hang out and see if there's anybody there I know. But thanks again for dropping in this morning. I think the Fantastic asked some of the penultimate questions here about the question about if Zoe offered you an NDA, what would you do? I really don't know. I think that I reveal my position too much by answering that question. But if somebody offered me an NDA for the solve, that's not really what I'm looking for. That's honestly not what I'm looking for. I mean, that's not what I'm looking for. But anyway, yeah, Captain Kidd wants me to have fun at the auction. Yeah, don't spend too much money. Take care. Say your goodbyes. Happiness begins. Oh yes, the quote from my book. Happiness begins. Don't let Celine Artemis get me down. Carly Winters will come to your rescue. You just gotta wait until the money falls out of the chair. Oh, buy an excavator. Yeah, Oh man, buying that. Fantastic. I have no plans of going to El Vado Lake again. You know, the sad thing is there were so many great stories that happened during the thrill of the chase that nobody will ever hear or have documented or enjoy, such as, you know, Scott's big dig at Alvado Lake. I mean, if you would just recreate that in some sort of film, the big dig. I mean, Golden Greed. Which would you rather have had in Golden Greed? A recreation of somebody digging a hole at Alvado Lake, or some rednecks running around trying to blow up a boulder? I mean, the best movie would have had both. The best movie would have had the guy with an excavator digging the hole at Alvado Lake, and would have had the rednecks running around chasing a boulder, chasing dynamite to blow up a boulder to get what's underneath it. Um, but I don't know. I guess there's a captivating story about blowing up a boulder. But to me, a big dig at Alvado Lake is just so much more interesting to me because because one of them you're taking excavating equipment to a location that there usually isn't excavating equipment, and the other is just trying to find some dynamite to blow up a rock. I mean, oh, Captain Kidd, today is the day with a candle and cake. Anyway, buy that excavator. Still going. Wow, emergency came up. Had to help a neighbor. Okay. Well, like a good neighbor, all states there. All right, I am truly signing off. Thanks for joining in. Everybody has a great weekend. Uh, enjoy the day. Um, uh, yeah, enjoy the day. Good night. Oh, it's good morning. Good morning, Ian. Good morning. You're next. All right, see you later, Ghost Dancer Radio. Glad you guys could come in today. And gals and girls, men and women, orphans and children.